Good afternoon. Welcome to 2016 February Healthy Union Student Union Lunch. My name is Phil Stevens. I'm Chef de Cuisine for University Dining Services, and assisting me today is Jessica Holman. We're going to go over several items today. We're going to do a vegetable couscous. It's whole wheat, so it's nice and healthy. We're going to do a dried fruit and kale salad with a grilled lemon vinaigrette. And we're also going to do a Moroccan spiced chicken breast. So here we go. I'm going to demonstrate a preparation technique for the couscous. Couscous is a very fine pasta. It's very readily available in the Middle East. They use it a lot. In this case, this particular variety that we're using is, as I said, is whole wheat, and it's 1-to-1 on the water. So we're going to use some chicken stock today because we're doing chicken breast. And what I've just done is I've added some olive oil, about a tablespoon. This is 2 cups of whole wheat couscous, and I'm just going to rub that. And what that does is couscous being pasta and being so fine, it will tend to get a little gummy and kind of clump up. So today, rubbing it with just a little bit of olive oil. And this is a prime example of those folks that tell you that sandbox play has no value. Looky here. I'm proving right now that you learn all kinds of usable things in the sandbox as a kid. You'll tell a little bit of a texture difference once you get it covered. It actually gets a little bit of a texture like sand that's damp. Okay? So, and once I'm done with that, I'm happy with that. I'm going to pour it off in this bowl because this technique for preparing this is so very easy. There you go, Jess. Thank you. All right. As I said, I already have the chicken stock warm. All I have to do is pour the chicken stock right over the couscous. I'm going to mix it in. Make sure it's completely wet.
Almost like a mud pie.
Almost like a mud pie. Building sand castles. Now another version of this, you can take the vegetables that I'm going to prep here in front of you. And Jess, if you'll step around and put some plastic over that really tight, please. You can take vegetables and actually put them in your chicken stock and let the onions become translucent. Once that's done, you do the same thing that I did. But today, just so we have a little action, I'm going to do a saute for you. So I've got some carrots and onions here and some zucchini. And in some of the other times that I've prepared zucchini, I've shown this technique. You can cut it into quarters. And for certain things, I like to just remove a little bit of the seed bed. Just like so. No big deal. But it keeps the texture of the zucchini a little more firm and the shape a little more symmetric or uniform. So I'm doing that, and I'm going to cut these into thirds. I won't need all this, but I wanted to show you the cutting technique. And we're working for about one half to 1 cup of vegetable. It's kind of up to you what you want. And we'll do the saute on this. As I said before, you could just add it right to your right to your broth and give it just a little bit to become a little tender, and then you'd be good to go. And you can cut these into any shape that you like, any size that you like, just as long as you get it done. Go. Got that ready. We'll just clear all that away. I already have just a little bit of olive oil in my pan over here. We're just going to start this saute. Does this look like something you would all do at this point?
Yes.
Any questions so far?
How much oil do you have in the pan?
Very little. I like using nonstick because that allows us to not rely on the oil to keep the vegetable or the product loose in the pan. And so it was less than a tablespoon. Yeah. And I'm going to give this a high heat. I'm very fortunate here. Very high BTUs available to us, so we can do saute very quickly. While that's getting going, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the kale and dried fruit salad. This one is with apricots. It also has feta cheese. You could use blue cheese, but in this case, feta is a little more on the health side, less fat. So we've got feta, and then we've got toasted sliced almonds and dried apricots. Then the vinaigrette is done with grilled lemons. So I wanted to demonstrate or show you an example of the grilled lemon. You can do it on your outdoor grill, charcoal, gas, or even on an indoor grill that you have at home, or a griddle. You can put it on there and you're still going to get a little caramelization, and so that flavor will come through some. But of course, if you're on live charcoal, you'll have a little more impartation of that smoky flavor from the charcoal. Then this has lemon juice, a little bit of champagne vinegar in this one. So a quality vinegar actually adds a lot to the flavor. And then you blend it all together. All the ingredients go together. I've used honey in this instead of sugar because a little more healthy again. And I'm just going to have Jessica put this all together for us.
So in the meantime, where is our rice?
The couscous.
Yes, the couscous.
The couscous. It is hanging out right there in that bowl.
Okay.
And I'm about to mix in the vegetables.
Is there a special reason that is wrapped in plastic wrap, or is that just...
Yes, ma'am. And that is critical to the cooking process. Basically, the hot broth will cook the couscous because it's so fine. If you were to put it on a stove and have direct heat to it, then it would overdo and become very sticky and clumped together.
So this is very, very simple.
Super, super easy. Okay, there's that. I'm going to go ahead, pardon my reach. So you just fluff it up. Normally you use a fork, just fluff it, kind of like you do rice sometimes. After it's set, it's done, you just want to I have cooked this and it be done in 7 minutes. So it's super, super easy and quick. The other thing about it, this is the consistency you look for. You see how it'll come apart? It's not a big mass. It wants to break apart. One thing that you have to be aware of, it can tend to be just a little bit dry, but this is the texture it's supposed to have. But if for your palate you want it a little wetter, just to add a little broth. Simple, simple.
When you added the hot broth to it, was it boiling?
It was. Yep. Bring it up to a boil. And you see I got a little bit of char on those vegetables to impart a little extra flavor.
They smell amazing. So for those of us that are extremely uneducated, what is the difference between rice and couscous?
Well, rice is actually the grain, and couscous is a pasta. So it is truly a pasta. It's just a super fine pasta. And what I'm going to do to keep in our theme today is I'm going to add a little bit of our Moroccan spice to this as well.
It smells fabulous.
We'll cover it back up, let it set until we're ready. Okay, there we go. Let you pull that plastic back over that for me, Jess. Okay, and now what we're going to work on is I'll tell you a little bit about these spices, but I'm going to have to read my list because I don't have it memorized. So we have ground, everything is ground in this. So we have ground cumin, coriander, ginger, chili powder, black pepper, turmeric, cinnamon, kosher salt, a little bit of sugar, just a little bit, because a lot of these spices are a little bitter, so that sugar kind of counters that, and it helps with caramelization, and ground cloves. So it's a nice blend of spices. And you mix this with oil, but it's a very small amount. It's surprising how little it takes. That is less than a tablespoon right there. If I can get away with that, I will. But if I need more, then I've got just a little bit more there that I can add. And it looks like I'll need just a little bit more. And then I've got this recipe that I've got for you today calls for 4-ounce chicken breasts. I've already prepared a couple to cut down on time. Would you go ahead and turn that up just a little bit? So these are my chicken breasts. They go in.
Would you have to do this with chicken breast, or could you do it with chicken thighs?
You could. Any cut of chicken would be fine. I would suggest something that's boneless, but you could do it on chicken with the bone. And on the grill, this would just be fabulous. Okay, so you can see this is just marinated with the spice. You could do this ahead of time and refrigerate it and have it ready to go. We're going straight into a hot pan. No oil because there's a little bit of oil in the marinade and the spice. So there we go. Thank you. I'm going to take these off. Thank you. And I'm going to get a sanitation bucket. Sorry to crowd the camera.
You're fine.
There we go.
Did you say this was like high heat or?
This is relatively high. It's medium. What I'm doing is I'm just searing it. I'm going to show you what it looks like after you get a good sear on it on both sides. And then a finish technique, you could put it in an oven-safe pan, cover it with foil, and put it in the oven in about 7 to 10 minutes. You want to reach the internal temperature of 165, of course, but you have to remember these are very thin chicken breasts, and so they're just little 4-ouncers. So as long as you have a pretty uniform protein item that you're using, it'll cook relatively quick, especially covered tightly because it'll steam itself basically as it cooks. All right, so we're just about ready to finish this up. just for sake of time, I'm going to give you a look at what that looks like after it's sauteed. And maybe you can smell that a little bit. It's got wonderful flavor to it. Don't touch that hot pan. Yeah. So I'm going to top it with this other pan and let that finish. There we go. You want to go ahead and bring those out for me? I have some that I'd already started.
This is the future.
This is the future. Yeah.
So what temperature do we bake it at?
Bake it at 350. There you go, Jess. And Jess, if you'll take that square plate right there above us, and let's plate the couscous up.
So Phil, I noticed you were almost cutting on a diagonal on the chicken. Is there a reason for that other than presentation?
Presentation,
Okay.
but in this case, and you can plate all right down the center across for me, and I'm going to place the chicken around. So she's working with me on the presentation. We didn't talk beforehand, and we're going to plate that separately right here. Okay. So this is just for the presentation today, but I always feel a cut like that looks really nice. If you'll excuse me, I'm going to turn this other chicken. We'll probably want to taste that here in a little bit too. Let's go just a little more. And another thing about this, I didn't do it, but you can mold this. It makes beautiful molds. So you can put it in a bowl and create a nice mold, a little more height to it. So there's our vegetable couscous. We're just going to lay the chicken around. Vegetable couscous with Moroccan spiced chicken and a dried fruit kale salad. So thank you so much for watching today. I hope you will enjoy trying this at home.